Hello and welcome back to the Glitch Cube podcast where we oh my god, what the fuck am I doing? Should leave that in there. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. I was thinking IBS for some reason. Bleh. All right.
Similar.
Hello and welcome. Yeah, right. Hello and welcome to Glitch Cube. We're a gaming podcast, and each week we take a deeper look into the art of video games. As always, I'm Christian.
I'm Chris.
And welcome back, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us once again as we dive further into the world of games. So, what are we going to be talking about this week? Well, there is some big games that are coming out. Game Pass is kind of killing it with a lot of these new day one games coming out. Some big titles that you wouldn't really expect to come out on day one. Well, they're coming out right there on Game Pass. The one that I want to talk about real quick, and just a little bit because it's, a new Souls-like style game. We're talking about Wu Chang. And I got my hands on it, got to try it out for a little bit. I'm gonna hold off on what I think because I might not be the right person to talk about Souls game, right? But yeah, so we're gonna chat about that for a little bit, and then we'll probably go into a nice little conversation about some other style of gaming, some retro gaming, some conservation style things like that, right? Talking about emulators and what are we playing as well? How do we tackle our backlog, right? That kind of thing. So you're a Souls guy, right? Like you play most of them. You play the Elden Rings. Like you've definitely played more than me, right?
I would
I,
say
I
I'm
think
in
I've
between. I, I'm
I feel like
I
I've
know
played
I
like
know
a
Souls
couple,
guys, and
right?
it's like I love
Yeah,
them, I
okay,
enjoy
right,
them, but it's like I also need a break from them too.
right,
But
right,
I'll definitely play more than like say probably you, or
right.
I don't bounce off quick enough with them.
I don't know. There's something about them that it's very hard for me to get hooked into them. And I was trying to really think about the last one that I really enjoyed and what were the situations around me that made me actually enjoy this game. And I feel like it was Dark Souls 2 and
The most hated one.
the I feel like the only reason why I played that game as much as I did was because I was playing it with my dad at the time. So we were
Mm.
bouncing back and forth, and there was always someone else in the room to feed off of, right? And there's something about just beating your head up against a wall over and over and over again by yourself. That's just not fun. It's just I don't know.
Yeah.
It can get really frustrating, and I feel like these games might not be for me. I love strategy games. I love, the Final Fantasies. I love turn-based combat. I love having to think about those kind of style things, but I like the pace of that, right? And I like the challenge from that rather than worrying about a hitbox that's fucking stupid and it's half the map, right? Or
Mhm.
parrying at the perfect time just to I don't know. I get it. I get the appeal, and they do seem fun, but maybe I'm just not at that time of my life anymore. I feel like if I was in high school, I would freaking love this game. I don't know.
I feel like so my quick little history with Souls. I remember playing Dark Souls when it first came out on the 360, and I bounced off pretty quickly from that. I would say I was maybe like 6 or 7 bosses in. Like I hadn't reached Blighttown yet. I was kind of it was still pretty early.
Mhm.
And I was just like, "You know what? I'm kind of over this." It's kind of like not too stressful, but I just wasn't into that kind of game at the time. I was more into like an action third person where I didn't have to worry about losing crap if I died. But
Right.
and then
That's such a frustrating mechanic. I don't know.
I don't mind it so much nowadays. After playing through Elden Ring, I kind of pushed myself to play a bunch of Souls games. So, I spent almost 200 hours in Elden Ring and then jumped straight to Bloodborne, beat it, jumped straight to Dark Souls Remastered, beat it. And then I started playing Dark Souls 2, but because I had already spent you know, more than 250 hours already playing these kind of games, I was like, I'm
Right.
kind of exhausted,
Yeah.
which sucks because I I'm probably 10 hours in the Dark Souls 2. Like I've done a little bit in it, but I'm looking back at it like I don't know if I can go back right now. Like it's like, I haven't
Right.
played something too similar to that recently, so it's like And I know Dark Souls 2 is also kinda weird with its rolling where you actually have to level that stat up, and I
Yeah.
was also playing a class I don't normally do, so it was just all these things leading up against me that I was like, "I wanna go back to it because I do like the atmosphere in 2 from what I've
Feel like,
seen."
yeah, that one you definitely have to start over. Just, but I feel like that's the similar thing to all these games. It's a skill that you have to learn, and once you take a break, it's gone, and
Yeah.
you're just kind of you got to refigure it out, relearn it. Whereas you pick up a Mario game and it's like I'm jumping, yay, right? Like this is
Yeah.
fun, right? Like you pick up a turn-based game, it's like I get it, right? Like you have your rock paper scissors mechanics of this person is weak to this element, this person does buffing, this person does magic, right? Like those rules are in place and it makes sense and it's just set it, done, and you could probably have fun with it, right? But with Souls like games,
Yeah.
they each have a different timing too, right? That I
Mhm.
feel like is a little tricky to kind of make sure to understand. Some have like a parry mechanic, some don't, some right, like there's all kinds of like smaller nuances, but the core mechanics are the same, right? Where instead of souls, it could be like blood. It's something you go to bonfires or shrine, right? Like it,
With
all that kind of crap's the same.
with FromSoft Souls, they're usually all kind of the same, which is nice. It's more
Hmm.
so when you start playing, like, other, like, Soulslikes, right?
Right.
Like,
The offshoots.
when
Yeah.
I played a little bit of, Black Myth: Wukong, like, it felt like a lot easier of a Souls. It still has a difficulty, but
Hmm.
it felt easier than any of the Souls I played, and then there's Lies of P, and, there's
Yeah.
so much of these out there that cater to different difficulties. Like, I remember really liking the Surge 2, which is,
Hmm.
a sci-fi Souls, which was kinda cool, but it's it's kind of like I have to be in a mood for them, and it's hard to play a actual Souls because there's no pause. So, like, for me, if I
Right.
need to do something with the kids, I can make time for it, like, at night, but at the same time, like, I don't wanna have to do that right now. So I'm, like, telling myself if there's ever a day where I have at least 2 or 3 hours where I don't have any distractions, I'll get back to it. That's why I started playing Sekiro because you can pause in it. Even though it's not a
Mm.
Souls game per se, but
It feels
it
souls
still has a
adjacent,
parry
right? Yeah.
system, and that
Right.
game, like, playing Clear Obscure and then going to that made me really good at the parrying system. So, I wanna go back to that one for sure at some point.
Yeah. That one was fun. I did start actually playing that one right after Claire as well, after you brought that up. And it was enjoyable. Like I like the vibe of it. I like the setting of the Sekiro game. Like that one actually looks like I could kinda get further into it, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like I'm playing too many Souls-likes and not just playing Souls, right? Like, I feel like maybe
Yeah.
if I played Elden Ring, I might actually enjoy it,
I
right?
think you should.
But I keep playing the games that are adjacent to the source code, and it's just not really, like, vibing with me.
Elden Ring
So,
is so
for
different.
right. Like,
You can jump.
that's
There's so
huge.
many things that make Elden Ring feel like that's where people should start if they
Mhm.
wanna get into Souls because you have the summons you can do, like the skill ones, not even like other players, but it's like there's so many things in Elden Ring that makes that genre so much easier that I think, like, if someone wants to get into it, like, I would point them at that. Maybe Bloodborne, because
Right.
Bloodborne's kinda easy too, but Elden Ring is just like it's hard, but I felt like it was amazing at teaching me what I needed to know.
Bloodborne was cool. I was enjoying that one too because I was playing that for a little while, but I think I bounced off that one too. But I like definitely the environment of Bloodborne was actually really interesting,
Mhm.
and the whole like get your life back mechanic, it forces you to be an aggressive player, which I think is kind of nice, right? Because usually whenever you get hit, you want to back the hell up and stay in the background and reassess the situation. But Bloodborne's like, oh, you just got hit, you better go back in there and like fight, right? Like fight, literally fight for your life because the more you fight back, the more life you get back. So I actually like that mechanic because it made everything feel faster, but it also made the enemies feel a little bit easier, right? Because
Yeah.
that mechanic was built in where they know that you're going to be the aggressor. The enemies are not necessarily the aggressor. Whereas, like
Mhm.
in Souls games, you have to just dodge and wait for timing because the enemies are so aggressive,
Yeah.
right? So, like, that is a very interesting, like, sidestep there. But yeah, I don't. So for Wu Chang, like when I was first looking at it, like visually, this game looks phenomenal, right? Like
Mhm.
the graphics behind it look great, the cutscenes look amazing. And then whenever I started playing it, like the one of the first when you first get your sword, I was like, oh, is this like some weird anime girl thing? Because like the person that gives you your sword is like a wandering samurai, and at first you're like, oh, cool cloak, like it's all weathered and stuff, and then they're in like a bandage bikini and there's like jiggle physics everywhere. And I'm like, what is this? Like, what am I playing right now? Like, it's so distracting in games. I'm just like, I can't take this seriously anymore. And like your main character, she doesn't say shit. Like, she just kind of stares and then just takes a sword and you're done, right? But it felt so slow to just move around. There was no run button, so it's kind of like a lumbering saunter and your character is like small, so you would think that she'd be more like agile, nimble. And maybe there's like movement mechanics that you can unlock because there's like a pretty lengthy skill tree that you can go down. But I I definitely am not anywhere near that right now. I think I got like 2 skill points, right? But there's a couple things in it that I just kind of couldn't really vibe with right off the bat. And one of them I thought was actually really interesting. Like it feels like they want to tell a story in there because there was one section when you first get there, there's a guy by the fire, and if you talk to him, he's like, "Oh, well, like I need to show you." Basically, he like throws you into a dream. So there's like a whole dream world mechanic that you go into, and there's a boss there, and the boss is like, you just hear this little girl's voice like saying like, "Oh, sister, like you finally come back," but it's this crazy monster that's wearing like a little girl's like tank top, like playing with a pinwheel, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like it seemed like, the aesthetic of it, I was like, "Oh, I'm really curious about this," right? Like, this could be a really cool story. I got wrecked by that thing right away. I was like, "Okay, well, I'm not doing any damage to this," and the thing just kinda beat the hell out of me. And then whenever I came back, that guy was gone, and that fight's gone, and now I
Mm.
can't do it again. So I don't know what was going on there, right? So I was like, "Okay, you know what? Screw it." Like, I'll just keep playing and maybe some more story beats will hit later where I can actually care about what the hell's going on, right? Because at this point, I'm like, yeah, there's feathers. That's nice, I guess. Apparently, it's like some curse that people are getting that are feathering. It's kind of reminded me of like a leper colony where
Oh,
there's like people in tents that have been fully feathered. So like there's a demon that puts a curse on people and the feathers consume them and then they become a demon, right? And you have that too.
interesting.
So like I was going through the next stage and all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, there's a boss." And I'm like, "Oh, like I didn't go into any special room. I just turned a corner and there happened to be a boss in that room, right?" So it's like, "Oh, that's different. That's kind of cool." And I don't know, like I got the boss down to like half health. I died but I died in a really stupid way where like the camera got stuck and I was like in a corner of this room because it wasn't like a boss room. It was a room that I had already been in.
Hmm.
So it felt
Huh.
kind of weird, like it wasn't built for this
Yeah.
because the boss, like, since I didn't see it right away because it wasn't obvious, I saw the health bar show up. The boss ended up like walking into the corner of the room where I was on the ledge above, and I was like, "Oh, it's below me." Like I didn't even see that, right? Like, okay, and it was just kind of like a weird positioning fight, and the boss was so slow I didn't want to like walk to the other side of the room and wait for it. It's like I died and then immediately turned the game off. I was like, I there's something about like these games that it's really hard for me to see that progression
Mm.
where a lot of other people see it, right? Where it's like, oh, well, I got him down to half health this time. I can do better, right? Like, let me try again, right? And it's like, oh, I almost got it that time. Let me do it again. I just turned it off. I was like, I'm good.
Mm.
Like, I'll play something else right now. Like there was no drive to do it because I feel like with these games, and one thing I think is lacking is for me, and maybe there's other players like me, the motivation to continue. right?
Mm.
Like, you just throw a random boss in that looks cool, it's like, "That's nice, I guess, but, like, why am I doing this?" You know? Like,
Like a better
what's
reward or
driving me
something.
right, like, what's really driving me for the next 60 hours?
Yeah.
Like, I need some sort of reason, I need some sort of story beats to be like, "Oh, this boss is here because they, like, were corralling people or, like, refugees to the area and so that the feather demon can demon them," right? And it's like, just give me a little bit like that, and I'll probably be in, right?
Yeah.
But they don't give you any of that, so I don't know, but I feel like that's very similar for all Souls games. There really isn't anything there.
I feel like when it comes to like the FromSoft Souls games, the sense of progression comes from like, oh, these are like beloved games, right? So it's
Mhm.
kind of like, well, I want to see the next thing. And I mean, the story and like the back lore of Dark Souls is fascinating enough. So I mean, I get it. Like kind of like
Right.
advancing for me, what always pushed me forward was like, I just want to see more of this world.
Mm.
But if a game doesn't have a fascinating world, I mean, that's what happened with the
That's
Surge
it.
too for me. Like I got a little bit in and I was like, this world is not that interesting. And I just jumped off.
Right.
And a lot of these Souls likes, I feel like they kind of missed the mark on it. Because it's
Yeah.
like sometimes they're trying to be too similar or they're trying to be different, but not different in a different way. Like Liza P, I think,
Right.
is different enough where, I mean, you see it, it's still being talked about. Like people
Well,
are
and it
still
had a story
talking well
that was
about it.
actually kinda interesting, right?
Yeah.
It that was pretty clever on their part, so
Like you don't see many people talking about
that's
Black Myth
nice.
Wukong anymore, which is
That's
interesting because,
true.
I mean, it was like so highly rated last year, but it's
Well, it
like,
showed up at the Game of the Year awards too at the end, right? Like,
hmm,
it was even, like, out of nowhere, it's like, no one's really this game's brand new, and all of a sudden it's like, "No, this is Game of the Year." And now
yeah,
everybody stopped talking about it. As soon as the awards were done, they're like, "Yeah, okay." They just needed a filler, right? Like, that's kinda what it felt like,
yeah.
although there was other options for that, but I don't know, like, I I get the appeal. I totally understand that. And these are your kind of games, and like by all means, go have fun with those things. But like, I feel like maybe it would throw the flow off if they threw in a little bit of story beat.
Mm.
I don't know, but like, it would be
Yeah,
nice.
that's the thing too, is that these kind of games, people try to mimic the From kind of
Hmm.
storytelling where it's very minimal. And
Right.
when it comes to FromSoft games, one, you expect that. Two, they do it in a way that just works. Everything feels ethereal, everything feels dreamlike. But
Hmm.
when another company does it, it doesn't have that history of doing it. So it just comes off as like, one, you're copying. Two, it there need you can do that with certain stories, right? Because with
Right.
From, it's not like they throw you this back history of the feather, right? Like if it was a Dark Souls game, it wouldn't even tell you like there's a demon doing this. Like you would be reading about it off of some item you found, or maybe one little character would
Right.
tell you a little tidbit. It's the just giving you a little bit of a breadcrumb and then for you to find out what it is. And I think the problem with a lot of these other games that try to do that is that they either give you too much and then too little, or they're just giving you nothing at all. And it's like, here's a boss rush, you know?
Yeah. I feel like that's probably what happened. I felt like because the beginning felt like there was actual exposition,
Hmm.
right? Like where there was something there, and then go fight this boss. Like it's like,
Yeah.
oh, go. They were like, oh, you need to go over there. Okay, why? Just go over there, right? It's just like, okay, cool, sounds great. Fantastic. But I think actually, like one of the things that FromSoft games do very well um, is that even though they just do the breadcrumb storytelling, the monsters really fit the world
Hmm.
or the area that they're in, and I feel like that really tells a story in its own right.
Yeah.
Right? Letting the environment tell you a story, I think, is very fascinating. Whereas, like this one, this boss that I was just immediately like, I don't care. It was in some rock caves, but it was a musician.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay. I'm like, neat, I guess. Like, it didn't really
Huh.
fit, right? Like, it's like
Yeah.
you don't belong here. Whereas I feel like in if it was a from game, like it would probably be like maybe someone that got feathered completely, like to really like play up that whole like this is what's going to happen to you if you don't continue this quest without ever having to say the words. You can infer like, oh, this is what's going to happen to you because as you're progressing you probably would have fought people that are in various states of feathering right
Right.
along the way. So like it just kind of like tells that story without ever having to write it out or do any lines of dialogue to you specifically, like no spoon feeding, right?
Hmm.
And I feel like that's the difference where a lot of these people who are kind of copying that formula fall behind. Like you said, it's either wait like nothing, like there is no story, and some people like boss rush games, that's fine, or they dump a bunch of lore in the beginning, and then they expect you to be able to play for the next 30-40 hours with nothing, and then they dump a bunch of lore again, right?
Hmm.
Like, and there's no like little breadcrumbs or really clever environmental storytelling or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'd be curious. You
I
should
kind of
try
want to
it,
try it.
see what you think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be good. I don't know. It's trending on Xbox, right? Game Pass. You can see the games that are everyone's like fired up about, and that's definitely one of them. So either I'm not the right demographic, or I just was not in the mood to
I've heard
play a game
mixed
like
things
that.
about it, so I get it.
Yeah. So. But I don't know, one of the things that I immediately did right after playing that was, I immediately turned it off and I threw on some Super Mario Sunshine, buddy. Like, I was
Nice.
like, "You know what?" And maybe that might be why I just wasn't vibing with it. I was more in the mood for something like that. Like, I've
Bright
been
and
really
sunny.
on a kick. Yeah. I've been on a kick of wanting to play, like, older games again
Hmm.
and, like, either replaying games that I've already played or that I don't remember anything about, like, I started up Infinite Undiscovery again,
Nice.
which was for those of you who don't know, it's a Xbox, JRPG, one of the very rare ones, right? Like, you had Infinite Undiscovery, you had Lost Odyssey, and that's about it. Like, there's,
Yeah.
like, Batten Kaitos, but that was also on GameCube, right? But, like, there really wasn't a lot. Enchanted Arms, I think, was another good one for the for Xbox, but
Yeah.
there
Blue
wasn't,
Dragon.
like there wasn't a lot, right?
Yeah.
But I remember playing a lot of Infinite Undiscovery and really enjoying the buddy system and the playthrough of it. So right now I'm currently playing through that one again and I'm really enjoying it. But it's nice to be able to kind of, I mean, emulators are great. Like
Yeah.
it's really it's a nice little feature, and the fact that they just work so quickly is fantastic. Being able to jump in and out of them, but, like, which ones do you use whenever you're trying to do, like, retro gaming and stuff like that?
I mean, they've definitely evolved over the years. I've been messing around with emulators since I don't know, since I got on the internet, kind of like, 2003, like really
Mhm,
early back when, basically only emulators for like 16-bit. There wasn't like an
mm,
N64 one really that I remember. There was a PlayStation one years later, but for me, you know, there's certain systems where I haven't touched an emulator on them for so long and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I still use this one." It's like, "Oh, that one's not even around anymore." Like I was looking at
right.
a list for like the Super Nintendo because I used to use, um 9 SNES, I think. Or no, SNES 9X. And then I used
Oh,
to
yeah, I
use
remember, yeah.
and that one's still around. I think that one's the big one. People like that and like BSNES. But um I think it was like Z SNES was one I used. It's been a long time. I know for like the
Mhm,
NES, it was Nesticle was the old one. That one's not around
clever.
anymore. Like I'm looking at a list right now and I'm like, I guess there's Mesin or Nestopia. I think Nestopia is the one I used recently. But
Mm,
I mean, for me, I like okay, real quick. So like, I'm doing videos for, like, PlayStation 2 stuff. I'm doing real hardware for it, but for, like, Japanese titles or some other ones that don't sometimes, like, I don't know what I did with the PlayStation doesn't wanna read it, so I've
Mm,
been using an emulator for that, and, it's made me go down this rabbit hole of, like, I want retro achievements, and so I
mm,
use that website a lot, and kind of, like, teetering me on, like, what I wanna play. And honestly, it's been really fun using that website because it's just, most emulators have the login for it and boom, you just get achievements. I mean, the newer platforms like GameCube, PlayStation, like they're still getting achievements, but if you go back to like older stuff like
mhm.
SNES, GBA, like there's tons already.
Dude,
Um
that's cool.
so that's like my motivation to use emulators compared to like real hardware, right? And the cost. But
Right.
um, for me, like the ones I use the most, well, I use DuckStation for the original PlayStation. That
Mm,
one has some amazing capabilities. Now, when it comes to all these emulators, I basically like I don't change the settings on them. I know a lot of people are very into the 4K upscaling and making them look
right.
super modern, in a way like indie games have that kind of like old look to them, but they're like clean and not
Right.
fuzzy.
There's still that polish behind them. Yeah.
So people like if you go on YouTube, and this is the main reason why I want to do like real hardware for the PlayStation 2 is that there's a lot of footage for every game out there, but a lot of it are like 4K upscaled and it doesn't look like how it did back then. And I wanna
Right.
capture how it looked back then because
Well, that's important. I think it's really important to see where we came from, right? Like
yeah.
that's part of the history. If you're upscaling it, because I was just watching a video on Majora's Mask. There's a
Mhm,
ROM out there right now that is completely redone, where like
mhm.
the graphics are smoothed out, like even like Tingle's face got remodeled. Like it still has the creepy vibes. It's still the same game,
Yeah.
but it looks completely different. And I don't know, there's something about that I was like, "Oh," at first I was like, "That's cool." But then it's like, well, I don't know,
It
you
takes away the
need some of that.
charm.
Yeah, you need the jank, right? Like it makes things a little too clean where I think like sometimes that fuzz filled in the blanks or like we filled in the blanks for the
Yeah.
things that weren't there, right? And now if something's like completely laid out in like full 4K, it doesn't look good, right? And I feel
It's
like that kind of kills
weird.
the nostalgia. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
like, when it comes to that, like, a lot of my emulators, I just play as close as the settings as I can to get how they would be on the console because I wanna experience
Mm,
how it was back then. When it comes to GameCube or, like, the Dolphin emulator, I think I have settings on that to kinda upscale a little bit just to kinda round off some edges, but I usually play all my games like how they would be normally.
right.
And, but, for GameCube, I use Dolphin. Dolphin's amazing.
Yeah.
I think that's the one everyone uses for it. I think you can do Wii with
Yeah.
that too. Yeah, I never done the
Yes, you
Wii
can.
emulator, but
Yeah.
that one, I've done. I'm looking at some of the other ones just to kind of refresh my memory. Like I've used Melon DS and Citra. Those are pretty good. I know Citra, I think got taken down back when they were
It
taking down the
did.
Switch
Yeah.
stuff, but and then
I think
for
there's like
the
Ryujinx now for that instead of
yeah.
Citra, right? Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think Ryujinx got taken down too, but there's forks
Oh,
for all
okay.
this. Like, there's still Switch emulators out there. It's just they're
Yeah.
more secretive, which they have to be 'cause it's modern platform. But when it comes to like the Sega stuff, like Flycast for the Dreamcast, like I use the Dreamcast more often than I would think. Mostly just because I get like itches to play like fighting games a lot,
Mm,
and they were
yeah.
best on the
That makes sense.
Dreamcast. So I use that, and then for the PS2, I use the PC SX2,
Yeah.
and
That's a
it's
good
kinda
one.
crazy. I feel like it updates every goddamn day because I boot it up almost every day, and it's like, "New update." I'm like, "What's going on?" But
Yeah.
it's it's a really comprehensive emulator, like, there's so much you can do with it, and for people out there that are like, "He's naming all these names," I used to use RetroArch, once that came about, I started using it because it was kind of nice having everything in one package. And I
Yeah.
understand maybe like on the phones or like a mobile device, it's better. But like on a computer, I'm like, I can just have these standalone emulators where I have more customization. Because RetroArch does take some of that customization away.
It does.
Um,
It does make it convenient. I would say if you're early to the emulation game, go with RetroArch even
yeah.
on your Windows, because what's nice about it is all of these emulators you talked about, like you can load the Dolphin core on RetroArch, right? Like so
Hmm.
you're technically using Dolphin, but you're in the RetroArch like
Ecosystem.
home ecosystem. Yeah. So like I would definitely recommend doing that first. Like all the SNES ones you mentioned, the PS P there's even like the PPS PP thing. Like that's
Hmm.
all there in RetroArch. You just have to click and download a core and then all of a sudden boom, there's your game. And it works great and it's
Yeah.
perfect. But like for some customization aspects, it is better to use the standalones. Like I ran into that with Dolphin today like, cause I
Mm.
have RetroArch on my phone on the computer as well, and I just was booting up Sunshine that way, and then I was like, "Oh, like, I want a GameCube controller," because of the analog
Mm.
presses
Mhm.
for Sunshine. If that's one of the things that's kind of annoying about some GameCube emulations or, ROMs is that, like, those triggers are analog triggers, and if you can't, like, map those properly,
Yeah.
unless you have like the standalone. So like Dolphin allows you to do that. Now you do have to buy a controller that actually has that. If you click on the very first one you find on Amazon for like 15 bucks, guess what? Those aren't analog triggers. They don't
Mhm.
work. They click, they're buttons. Great. If you can get away with it, like, but you will need to shell out a little bit more to actually get those analog presses for it. But I feel like that, at least with the controller customization, is much better in the standalone, right? Because in RetroArch,
Yeah.
it didn't have all that customization for it. It's just here's a controller, and then what button do you want to press? D pad, right? Like you can map it that way. But at least with Dolphin, it's registering like, oh, there's a C stick, there's this, there's analog presses on the L and R's, right? Like little things like that to make your game a little bit more close to the original, right? And to,
Yeah.
live up to what you're expecting. So,
Yeah,
definitely
RetroArch,
recommend that.
it's got a decent starting point, like but there's other newer like programs and apps that kind of do the same thing but a little bit better. Um
Mhm.
I do a lot of my stuff also on the Steam Deck. Um
Mm,
that's primarily what I've used it for ever since I got it. It's mostly been like my portable emulation station and I got EmuDeck on it and it's nice. I can load it straight off of Steam on my Steam Deck, or I can go to like actual EmuDeck and it's like, pretty all customization. Like here's the consoles you can pick. Oh, here's the games, all the box arts. Like it's a little bit more customizable if you're interested in looking at like your digital shelf. Because I feel like with
right.
RetroArch, it's more like here's a name and maybe the box art to the side, but that's it. And
Right.
so there it emulation's at a point where it's so easy to just get into it. Even finding the BIOS for games is easy, right?
Yeah. You just Google
You,
the name and
yeah,
yeah, that's it.
they
Yeah.
make it sound like, oh, we can't share it here, but it's like, dude, just Google the BIOS name and boom, it's right there. Like,
Honestly, what's funny, the most successful ones I found, honestly, or the easiest ones or the fastest to download are on archive.org. Like you just go
oh
there
yeah,
and they have like it's great, like that's a perfect site for all of it. But it's not bad, right? Like it's a perfect area for it. But yeah, I mean, talk about like phone emulation and stuff like that too in another
mm,
environment that has like multiple in one. One that I've been using a lot, like I have RetroArch on there too. But Delta is a fantastic emulator for mobile. Like it's great. I mean, it is all things Nintendo.
mhm.
So like you can only do SNES, GameCube, or not GameCube, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, your Game Boy Colors, obviously. It goes up to DS. And I think
Oh,
yeah, it's just DS. Yeah. So it has all of those, but what's great about it is as soon as you download a game onto there, it populates into that current tab of what console it is, and it has the box art included right there. And it's
oh,
just
that's cool.
nice and easy, has save states, it's perfect. It even has like that virtual like if you're playing Game Boy Advance one, it'll have like a virtual Game Boy Advance around the game
Huh.
itself because you're doing the touch presses, right? Like, or the touch screen. So there's nice things like that, and you can get different skins for your stuff, right? They even have like DS skins, which is kind of funny, but
Hmm.
it's definitely a great emulator for like a pick up and go, right? And I think that it ends up looking fantastic. And some of these games, like playing a Game Boy game on a computer always feels weird to me because it's so like I'm used to seeing it on a small screen. So seeing it like any bigger, it just like looks weird and it looks like blown out. The pixels don't look right. So being able to play that on my phone, I think is a fantastic like version of it, right? It's much better. I'm sure on the Steam Deck or things like that, if you're playing it on that size screen, it's probably fine too, right? Like it's
Yeah.
not a bad thing, but like, I've seen people who play it literally, like, on their TVs, and I'm like, "What? How? Like, how can
Yeah,
you?"
back in the day with the Game Boy player that you would stick into, like, the
Mm,
SNES or even the GBA one on the GameCube, like, it just worked because it had that frame around it, so it never
yeah,
looked, like, too blown up, but no, I get that, and,
yeah,
something that I do find interesting too, with the Xbox side of emulation,
mhm,
which I have used, and I have a modded Xbox too. The only reason why I say that is that the multiplayer side. So this is the nice thing about emulation is that you can play a lot of these games online, right? With
mhm.
the PlayStation 2 stuff, with the SOCOM you can play, and a bunch of other ones. But with the Xbox, it's very easy, right? And they're doing that now, I think, beta wise with the 360, but
Yeah, I think,
with
Xenia Canary is a good one for that, like, because
yeah,
you can actually log into your Xbox account, can't you? Like, through that or something?
I don't know
Or
about
not your Xbox account, but it logs you, like yeah, because I was getting a connection error the other day on there because it was having a hard
mm,
time connecting to, like, an online account. It still let me
yeah.
play the game, but it was constantly popping up, which was kind of annoying, so I had to restart Canary, but yeah.
But it's cool because you can put this stuff on actual hardware, like the OG Xbox, and, like so I have Insignia
Mhm.
where it connects, and I can play granted, you have to see when other people are playing it, but, like, I played Halo 2 not too long ago online. It was maybe, like, 20 people, but it was still
Mhm.
cool, like, that
That's
option of being
awesome.
able to play this, and, like, if you look at the list on their website, there's so many games that have the possibility you can play, you just need people to play it with. But
Right.
that option of being able to play these games online is nice because none of these games really exist otherwise. You look at the PlayStation 2 with their online stuff, like, there's no way to play SOCOM other than this. Like,
Yeah.
you can still play Medal of Honor, Need for Speed online, all this kind of stuff. You just need discords that work for it, but it's cool. And then you look at the GameCube side of it with Fantasy Star Online. Like, people still have those private servers that have been going on for years. And
Which is crazy. That's so nuts to me that that's still a thing. I love it. I
yeah,
love that people are still into that, but yeah, it's
it's
nuts.
it's cool where we're at. Like back in the day, I never really thought emulation would get like this. And it's been kicking off quick, ever since like I feel like around the time like I saw like Duck Station really pop up, like all these other emulators
Mhm.
started getting really good. Like PlayStation
Yeah.
3 emulation is getting a lot better now. It's not 100%, but it's going a
It's
lot
almost there.
faster than
It's
you
getting
think.
better. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing to think that we were able to emulate a Switch before you're able to emulate a PS3 properly, right? Like
Yeah.
it's kind of funny the levels there, but at least it's getting there, which is awesome. So I am pretty excited about the progression there because there's definitely some PS3 games I want to try out that I haven't never got my hands on. And like from a conservation point of view, or even from like a game designer point of view, I think it's so important to be able to play these games the way that they originally were played, right? Because
Mhm.
then you get to see how it was, you get to feel the controls, and maybe you take bits and pieces of that and you realize like what made these games fun with the limitations that they had in place, right? Because so many people are now trying to mimic retro games without ever actually playing a lot of retro games. Like maybe they played one
Mhm.
or two, and there's just a different feel to it. Like you can feel whenever a game is inspired, but not. really like taking any reference from the source, right? Or it's just like, oh, I really like the way that looks. I'm just gonna throw it in my games, but here has modern movement. So like those things don't really play well together. Like it feels a little funny when
Mhm.
something plays like a modern game but looks like an older game. Sometimes that works. Sometimes you need some of like that grungy, not as polished, not as clean stuff to help enhance the experience, I guess, right? So I
Yeah.
think from a conservation and a game design point of view, emulation is important. I think it's very helpful, and just because a lot of these games are no longer available. Like
Mhm.
if you think about how many games came out last year alone, and then you start thinking about how many years games have been in development alone. And then it's like, okay, well, how many of these games actually are still in print? How many can you still buy? How many are just gone forever? Right? Like it's crazy to think how many are just gone, right? Like, it just there is no other way besides someone was nice enough to upload their game to the internet one day, and then it's keeping it alive that way, where then we get to still play these things and still be able to experience it. Because who knows, like it could be one of the most inspirational games to one of the greatest designers out there, but it's gone, right? Like
Yeah.
if that is your favorite designer and you're really trying to find out what makes them tick or what inspired them and you have no access to that material anymore, that just feels wrong, right? It's like a writer that is following their favorite authors. They're able to still look for those books that inspired that person. Like we
Mhm.
need that for games as well. Or same thing with movies and stuff like that, right? Like they're able to look back through cinema through time to continue to appreciate that. But games doesn't really, it's getting better, definitely. Like there's a huge kick for conservation, but it's definitely one of those areas that it's easy to lose the history of games without people like us talking about it or raving about it, right? Like, or just looking it up or people emulating it or like putting it out there for us to play it. So, yeah, there's a lot going on there. That's for damn
Yeah.
sure. But yeah,
Let's end with this though. How about this?
okay.
What you said about the Xbox, but is there a platform that you wanna kinda, like, go back to or play a bunch of games from with an emulator?
I mean, like lately it's been PS3 because I remember a lot of like the RPGs and stuff that I've been
Mm.
really into. But yeah, I think that would definitely be because I do have the ability to play the older ones. Those ones are the easier ones. So like I think right now what I'm most excited for is reliving some of my like PS3 days because I
Mm.
fondly remember a lot of those games. I just don't have a way of easily playing them anymore. Or a lot of the games that really caught my eye that I just was never able to access back in the day. And don't have disposable income or right, like, to buy actual copies of this stuff because they go for, like, hundreds of dollars now, right, like, for a game, or they can, right, if
Oh,
it's, like,
yeah.
limited or stuff like that. So, I think that one is the one I'm most excited for right now, because I'm able to play even up to Xbox 360 just fine, right? So,
Mhm.
that's the only one that's kind of, like, missing, but what about you? What are you looking forward to?
Kinda jumping between like, I do wanna play the PS3 more because there was just I got into that console really, really late,
Mhm.
so I missed out on a lot of stuff, like, even big name stuff. Like, I played the Uncharted's, but I
Yeah.
never played God of War 3, and, like, I played Last of Us, I play a little bit of Little Big Planet, but there's just so much that I just never experienced with the PlayStation 3 because I was more into the 360. So, I
Mm.
definitely want to jump into that, and I know I've been on a PlayStation 2 kick, but I really wanna go back to the GameCube because while I
Mm.
did play a lot of GameCube games, there's still so many that I never touched, and oddly enough, I didn't play many of the RPGs that came out on it. So I'm, like,
Yeah,
thinking,
I was just
"Oh,
looking
I
at a
should."
list of that this morning.
Like, I played
I was
Lost
like,
Kingdoms and a little bit of Skies of Arcadia, but that's it. I never played Bite Kaitos, I played
mm,
Evolution on the Dreamcast, but there's just so many, and then the Pokemon games that came out on
mhm.
it, so it's like I really wanna go back to it because the GameCube came out at a time where it's like money was pretty tight for the family. So,
Right.
renting was there, but some of those games just weren't at Blockbuster, so
Yeah.
never got a chance.
Yeah. No, right now I'm really excited. That's probably the emulator I'm most excited to have fully set up. That's why I just actually today I got the GameCube controller in the mail. I was like, dude,
Oh,
I'm
nice.
so excited to actually like really start playing these games because yeah, Bat and Kaitos is definitely one that's up there. Skies of Arcadia, like there's so many games that like whenever I was playing the GameCube, it was always a party system for me. I never
Mm,
really like dove into the single player aspect, and there's a lot of titles out there that are fantastic. Like the GameCube was a really great console, and I really enjoyed it. Like it was purple for a reason, right? They chose purple for royalty. There's that whole thing there, but yeah, that one definitely right now, like is accessible to me. That one I'm very excited to further explore because it's newest, right? I've been playing the Xbox One for a while, but finally setting up the Dolphin one correctly with the right controller, it's gonna feel real good. I mean, I'm excited actually to play around with a lot of the ROM hacks for GameCube as well.
oh, yeah.
I think that'll be a lot of fun, right? Because you got your or Sunshine Eclipse, right? Like you have all the Zelda like ROM hacks that they have available. I was literally just watching this guy play. It's five different Zeldas at once. And it's a randomizer, so the items for all of those Zelda games are randomized between all 5 games. So
Oh,
whenever
no.
when you open a chest, it'll pop up at the bottom and say like, "Oh, so and so found this for so and so." And like he set up profiles for like which game it is. So like
Mhm.
he's getting keys for like Twilight Princess whenever he's playing Ocarina of Time, right? And like he got the
Huh.
hook shot for Toon Link from Wind Waker, right? Like it's so crazy, but he was playing Majora's Mask at the time when he got the hook shot. Like it's
That's
all over
cool.
the place and it's a really cool aspect, but I like that it feels like a lot of Nintendo games. I mean, they have so much love behind them that the modding community is huge with that. So
Mhm.
I'm really excited to kind of explore that side of emulation further as well. And hopefully get some videos out there for you guys too. I
Yep.
think that'll be a lot of fun to actually start recording some of these gameplays. If you're interested in seeing some more of these retro games that maybe even you missed, but you want to see us playing them or like kind of figuring it out with you guys, is a lot of them are probably gonna be some, like, blind playthroughs, right? But that's
Mhm.
part of the fun of exploring the aspect with you guys. Let us know. Like, hit us up. We'll definitely we're open to any games. I'm sure you can tell. We've been doing this for 250 plus episodes. We're open to any and all kinds of games out there. That's for damn sure. But, yeah. Anyway. All right, so I think that's gonna do it for us this week. Hope you guys have enjoyed this little conversation. A little bit of a longer one today, but talking about from Souls-like games and Souls games in general. The new Wu Chang that just came out. That I mean, it looks amazing and it's probably great. So go check it out and see for yourself how you guys think about it. And then some, actual talking about conservation, emulation, and all that good stuff to keep games alive as long as they possibly can. But anyway, we'll talk to you guys next week with some more games and good stuff. But until then, bye for now.